And Plato, among his many stories and metaphors and allegories, tells us about this cave. And you can see in the image I've borrowed off the internet that there are people sitting on one side of this wall who are chained, and all they can see, they can't look back behind this wall where the cloaked figures with stick characters that are puppets are. They can only look at the wall. And there's light being cast in from this narrow tunnel that casts shadows on the wall. Now, if this is all these prisoners have ever experienced in their entire life, we can imagine that they would try to make sense of it. And they may even name these things on the wall that have specific shapes because they show up over and over again. And we could even, to keep the metaphor simple as Plato does, imagine that they name these things the same names as the people in the actual world do. And so this is a horse. In the minds of these individuals, this is a horse, and that's all a horse is. This is, say, a circle with, maybe it's supposed to be a bird of some sort. This is a dove, it looks like, and this is say, a vase. They don't have any concept of the things behind these objects that we do, who have experienced them. So to them, a vase isn't something that holds liquids or can have flowers in it or can be decorative. It's a black splotch in the light that's on the wall, and that's it. And to these people, if that's all they'd ever experienced, says Plato, what else could they know? They would literally think that was the entire world. And if some Yahoo, as you can see from this guy who has climbed out and managed to escape the cave, this guy goes up to the surface and starts looking around, and he comes back down and says, you guys are not going to believe this. There's a whole world up there. And there's this thing that looks kind of like what we thought was a bird, but it's not at all like that. It's three-dimensional. It swings through the air and collects things and builds nests, and it's beautiful up there. You can imagine that the people in the cave wouldn't understand what this person was saying. It would be as if they were speaking another language. It would go right over their heads. They don't have the ideas to make sense of what he's trying to explain to them. And yet the world is still there, and it's very real. Now we can fast forward this and again use it as a way to introduce the concept of media and how we become convinced of things in the world. And of course, this still happens. Almost all of us have a Plato's cave experience where up into a certain point in our life, we've just believed something is the way it is. And for me, Vegas and New Orleans are two cities that have acted as Plato's cave, shattering examples to me. I grew up in a small conservative town just outside Battle Creek, Michigan, on a dead-end dirt road. I went to a mostly white, mostly conservative school. It was just, not very much connection to bigger culture. It was really hard at the time without the internet to get the newest music and all the other things we think of as culture. And that meant that I thought that places like Las Vegas didn't exist. So when I visit them and I see things like this, I feel as if I don't even really know how to make sense of this. People drink at all hours of the day. We went out riding in the desert, and you run into all sorts of weird things out in the middle of nowhere that, again, I would never experience something like this. You can see Vegas in the background there. New Orleans, all day, all night, people just drinking, and everything's just fine. These were just one of many examples I've had where I experienced something that made me say, there is a different way of viewing the world and of experiencing the world. These might sound like funny, simplified examples, but again, that's our goal today.